What's going on, guys? I'm here to talk to you about the way you price your home today is really based on the buyer's behavior. And what we're going to do is we're going to go deep into this thing so you can understand the proper way to price your home in today's market based on some of the things that's going on today. Some of these things involve interest rates going up, and some of it involves cash investors actually pulling away from buying any more properties. Now, so we can get a further understanding of everything, what we're going to do is we're going to pull it back a little bit before the before the rates went up and what that looked like. I'm Jose Mejia, real estate broker with Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm hoping that by the time you watch this video, it really helps you understand how to price your home correctly so that you can get it sold and move on to the next thing in life that's important to you. For the past year and a half, almost 2 years, we were experiencing low interest rates in the high twos, even in the threes. And for the longest time, it's been embedded in our heads that affordability is possible. It's possible because of these low rates. It's possible that when you're a buyer, buyers didn't have to compromise other things in life that they have to give up just so that they can afford the mortgage payment. They can have this awesome house with an awesome mortgage payment at a very low, record low interest rate and not compromise anything in life like cigarettes or Starbucks coffee. And now what's happened is that we fast forward. We fast forward into April. And in the month of April, what you're going to see was the first mortgage interest rate hike. We went from the threes into the low and mid fours. Now we're going to stop here for a second so we can really bring this home to you and have you get a great understanding of this. When the rates jumped up to the low and mid fours, buyers took a step back, evaluated what their affordability is now, and some pulled away from even buying a house, but most continued. Now, if you were a seller who sold a home before April, you did it at a really good time. If you are someone who listed your house in April, you also did it at a pretty decent time, especially because the pricing of your home at that time was based on other properties that have sold in the neighborhood in January, February, and March when things were phenomenal and buyers were still buying like crazy and investors were still buying like crazy. Now let's go into the next month. We go into the month of May. And for the first time, we experience rates in the fives, the low fives. And now buyers take a look at this and they say, wow, my affordability has definitely decreased. And so more buyers pulled back from actually buying a house. And this means that if you were selling your home in May, you probably saw a decrease in buyers actually looking at your houses. Open houses, the traffic through an open house probably decreased. Offers decreased. Cash investors sending cash offers decreased. And if you're a seller at this time, what's going on is you are now looking at the market. You're asking yourself, what is my house worth? And you're looking at it based on buyers' behavior who were buying houses in January through March, who successfully closed on their home, and sellers in those 3 months that sold to these buyers got top dollar. And then you look at the homes that went under contract in April and closed successfully in May. And this is a comp is what we call it in the real estate world. And you said, wow, this is a recent sale that is similar to mine. I too see that I can price my home at this specific price based on the square footage, etc., etc. Now, if you are a seller in the month of May, you may have not really experienced a significant decrease in buyer activity. And so what happened is that sellers took all these comparables that sold successfully based on buyers' behavior from January to April, and they priced their home accordingly in the month of May. The one factor that they didn't consider is what was going on in that present moment at the month of May and how that was going to affect how much activity, buyer activity, that they had for their house so that they can get top dollar. The month of May was an eye opener for a lot of sellers because now we have interest rates in the fives, you have less buyers out in the market. And the month of May was the first experience of price reductions on houses. The same sellers who were pricing their homes on top dollar based on things that were going on from January to April had a gut check. They had a gut check because they saw that they weren't getting the same activity, because they weren't considering the behavior of buyers on the way they were reacting in that present moment on that present month of the interest rate and hikes. So, what happened? Price reductions, property stayed on the market a little bit longer. There was also properties that were under contract previously to these sellers putting their home on the market who had these houses that were under contract that went back on the market because those same buyers that went under contract in the month of April into May, they could no longer afford the house because of the rates going up. Now, we're in the present moment in the month of June. And for the first time in a long time, we hit rates in the low sixes. And the cycle repeats itself. Less buyers are on the market, less buyer activity on the listings, meaning less people going to open houses, less offers being presented, and now buyers all of a sudden gain a little bit of leverage. They gain a little bit of leverage because they're seeing the price reductions. They're seeing properties stay on the market a little bit longer. And we have these pool of buyers who no longer want to buy because of the rates. And you have a very small handful of buyers who have the ability to buy, who have the ability to say, I'm going to give up my Starbucks coffee so that I can afford this mortgage payment. And all of a sudden, the mindset changes. For sellers, you can no longer price your home at the top of the spectrum. You have to price your home aggressively but accordingly based on buyer activity. If you want to get the home sold successfully, maximize as much as you can without losing the house's marketing appeal. You need to price accordingly from the get-go. It's super duper important. Buyers have to go back to the basics of what we used to say. In 2015, 16, 17, there was a lot of circumstances with a lot of people that we helped where they would get a mortgage payment on a $250,000 house. Let's say it was 4 bedrooms. And the payment there was just slightly more than needed it to be, $100, $150 more a month. And they would make a wise decision to give up a small habit for the purpose of being able to afford this mortgage. And now we're having to educate buyers to go back to that mentality because they haven't had to do that in the past 2 years. They haven't had to give up anything about their lifestyle to be able to afford payments at a 6% interest rate. It's a transitional phase. And if you're a seller in this market, you have to price accordingly because you have less buyers going through this transition. For the people who do want to buy, they need an adjustment on how to adjust to these new higher rates. Sellers, you need to do the same. You need to make adjustments on how you price your home. With that said, I hope this information helped you out. It's always a great time to buy real estate and to sell real estate because at the end of the day, life happens. There's situations in life that make us to that forces us and makes us to want to make these good decisions to put ourselves in a better situation. I hope this video helped you out. Guys, I'm Jose Mejia, real estate agent in Tampa Bay, Florida with Real Broker. Talk to you soon.